team in the country. South Carolina facing a blue blood in the Lady Volunteers, who stormed back yesterday to get here today. College game day from Greenville, South Carolina starts right now.
This arena is absolutely rocking.
You have come to the right place.
This is college game day, ladies and gentlemen.
Footwork from Haley Jones. Harper strong.
Ain't no problem for Aliyah Boston.
Here's Clark. She fires and goes.
Let's go Cards.
Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness.
Beautiful basketball.
College game day live from Greenville, South Carolina is covered by State Farm. That's right, Greenville, South Carolina, the epicenter for SEC basketball, as the championship game is set, tipping 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Tennessee, South Carolina. The crowd converging on Bon Secours Wellness Center. The air filled with cries of Gamecock and Lady Vols. As we officially say hello from just outside. We love this. This is the benefit of the game not starting till 3. They are here and they are ready, ladies. I'm El Duncan. This is Andrea Carter, our resident Lady Vol, by the way. Carolyn Peck and Rebecca Lobo are our 2 Hall of Famers. Give me this energy. We love it here.
Please, just know the game is going to be this times a million, but this is incredible in its own self. Let me tell you, was Tennessee getting back to the finals first time since 2015? You don't think that Lady Vols have come from Knoxville? The fans are going to be here large, and South Carolina's just right down the road.
Bringing that energy. Save a little bit of it.
Right. We don't tip for 3 hours, so like maybe let's bottle it up. But here's the thing. While the SEC tournament, of course, is here, all tournaments are created equal on this set. So we're going to run through what we're watching for today. Drea, start with the ACC championship.
Well, I'm so excited for this matchup. The last time these 2 teams met, it was a 2-point win for Virginia Tech. The Hokies had so much balance on the offensive end. Louisville standout guard Haley Van Lith had her season-high 29 points, but it was not enough to take over that balance that I talked about. Hokies play on the inside, they play on the outside. I'm so excited for this matchup right here. I'm looking forward to and calling the South Carolina-Tennessee game. Now, earlier in this season when these 2 teams met, Tennessee got off to a hot start, but then the Gamecocks were able to take control in the second and third quarter. That fourth quarter got interesting, so we're in for a great one today.
And we had some electrifying semifinal games in the Big Ten. First of all, Ohio State coming back from 24 points down to beat Indiana. It's the 6th time this season they've come back from a double-digit deficit to win. And how about Iowa? Big Ten record, 15 made threes. Gabby Marshall has been on a tear, 7 made threes yesterday.
And how exciting has the Pac-12 been? These 2 teams right here said, Chuck, what? Excuse me, the 7-seeded Cougars taking on the 5-seeded Bruins. They split in the regular season. Both games decided by 7 points. This is the 3rd time ever that the Pac-12 tournament championship did not have a 1 or 2 seed. You 2 show out right here.
Certainly more than just conference titles on the line. Let's talk about the bracket buzz prepared by TaxApp. Stanford's still a 1 seed despite losing to UCLA in the quarters. Utah slides to a 2 seed after they lost to Wazoo. Maryland replaces them on the 1 line per Charlie Cream, our bracketologist. Tennessee, per Charlie Cream, the last one out of the top 16. But he says taking down South Carolina today puts them in the top 16. This after a huge comeback win for the Lady Vols last night, who overcame a 17-point deficit to beat LSU. And when you take down a ranked opponent for a shot at the champs, well, you celebrate accordingly.
Y'all know how we do it, man. On to the championship. Be there for part 3 or be where?
I love the promotion. Fresh off being mauled by her team. Tennessee coach Kelly Harper joining us here on set. Thanks for joining us, Coach. I want you to go back to last night. Your team is down 17. You call that timeout in the second quarter. It feels like everything changed after that. What'd you say to them?
Actually, it was a very intimate moment, and it was a question. I asked them if they wanted to do this and to really dig deep, and told them I'd help them, but they had to want to get there. And the look in their eyes was different in that timeout. It was just different. There was a realization of what they needed to do, what they could do. And there was a confidence about them when they left that huddle.
Coach, you played a gauntlet of a non-conference schedule, #1 strength of schedule in the country this year. How did playing in those games help prepare you for that comeback yesterday?
You know, our players didn't flinch yesterday. I mean, obviously we didn't play well in the first half. As one of our poorest halves really this year. But they came out, they knew what we needed to do, and they didn't really panic. We've been in tough games. They were able to make plays and obviously give ourselves a chance at the end.
Coach, when you talk about not panicking, it takes leadership and veteran leadership and two pros, in my opinion, Rickea Jackson and Jordan Horson. 26 points for Rickea, 17 for Jordan. How have those two led the way for this team?
Well, they give everybody so much confidence. You know, they can score. They're go-to players, and we can, you know, with them we're able to do a lot of different things. We're able to We're able to share the basketball. We're able to rebound, post up, give them opportunities to drive as well.
Well, while you're getting hooked up with your microphone, we talked about the two potential pros, but your bench was big in the game yesterday. And Jillian Hollingshed came in. You talk about that look in your eye. She had that look in her eye like she did when she came into the Connecticut game. How were you able to get her to really turn things up in the second half?
Well, I thought she did a good job defensively in that second half, and we were able to keep her out there. She was able to be a go-to player for us. We were able to get her the ball inside, and some one-on-one opportunities. When you've got so much action with Rickea and Jordan, gives Jillian that third scorer opportunity.
She was calling for the ball. She wanted it inside.
Hey, I was wanting to get her the ball.
When you played South Carolina just a week and a half ago, you had a nice lead at the end of the first quarter. What have you learned from that quarter? What have you learned from that game that can help prepare you for today?
Yeah, I think, you know, we understand how we need to play. We understand the focus, you know, that you have to have. The mistakes have to be minimized. Our players understand that. Now, you can understand it. Then there's the execution piece, right? You've got to go out and do it. But, you know, hopefully the positive plays that we made will give us a lot of confidence.
You have worked so hard to get back here. It's been a long time since Tennessee's been in the finals. What is going to be the key to really cutting down the nets and winning the championship today?
Yeah, I think the first thing, anytime you talk about South Carolina, you got to think the offensive boards for them, or boards in general. You've got to be able to keep that number in check. That's easier said than done. Obviously, for us, it'd be nice for us to shoot well, to make some shots. You know, their defense is pretty stingy. And then, you know, just got to be tough and physical on the defensive end.
Well, Coach, you've got a good pulse on the team. How do they seem today when you're around them, when you're at shoot-around? What's the vibe of the group right now?
Yeah, they seem good. They seem pretty confident. You know, we're not going to overcomplicate the game plan. We understand what we need to do. And, you know, I think they get it. They're talking through it. They seem very engaged. And I think excited for the opportunity.
I'm going to be watching now the girls just to see their eyes and be like, do they have that look in their eye that Kelly mentioned? They seem locked in. Well, listen, with all due respect, Coach, we're going to have you go be with your team so we can talk about your team and what they need to do today. Thank you so much for joining us on set. Good luck. We'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Thank you. Coach Kelly Harper. All right, so let's get some of those keys to the game, and I'll start with you, CP. What are you looking for today?
Well, one of the things that Kelly Harper talked about was the rebounding, and it's because of the length of South Carolina. Most importantly, it's Camila Cardoso. She has really come along and come into her own this season. She has been a force offensively, wanting the basketball. You have to understand, Camila Cardoso is 6'7". Also, on the offensive glass, a missed shot, that's like an assist. Do you see how Cardoso can get that inside rebounding, and she pretty much can really rebound over most, and she has taken a page out of Aliyah Boston's book of recognizing when the double team is going to come. She knows where the shooters are. On the kick out to Kiera Fletcher, this big post is a big reason the bench has been so productive for the Gamecocks.
Carolyn, you're talking about Camila Cardoso on the offensive side, and I'm talking about her defense and her teammates' defense blocking shots. It's not just their length, it's their
mobility. If you watch here, Victoria Saxton and Camila Cardoso are going to switch. Camila is going to pick up Madison Scott. She cuts off the drive because of her length and mobility that I talked about. You think you have a shot? Let me tell you, you do not. Maddie Scott has great elevation off the floor, but it does not matter. Camila Cardoso just gives her a little high five at the top of her shot. And then watch Letitia Meir on this backside. Defending Angel Baker, who is a very crafty guard. Letitia Meir has her as far as length goes. If Angel Baker dries, she's going to run right into Aliyah Boston. So she veers out. That's when LA catches up to her. And just when you think my shoulders are in front, my hips are in front, I got this, you don't have it for 1 second. Let's rewind it. We got to see it again because it's not just a block. She punches it. I'm telling you, I would have had to fake an injury. Oh, my hamstring, my hip, I'm not ready.
Because of South Carolina's size and the way they defend those on-ball screens, you have to be able to finish in a crafty way around the basket. Rikia Jackson, 6'2". Aaliyah Boston, 6'5". Camila Cardoso on this play is going to come over as a help defender at 6'7". Watch Rikia Jackson. Passes to the wing. Is she going to dive to the post? That is not where her advantage is against these bigs. On-ball screen comes. 6'7" comes over to help. What does she have to do? Use that rim to help protect her from the shot blocker. Rikia Jackson goes inside. Crafty, difficult finish, but able to do it. Here again, Jackson with the basketball in her hand. She is not going to go inside. That is not where her advantage is. On-ball screen is set. Help side defenders are there. 6'5", Aliyah Boston. 6'2", Saxton. So what is she going to do? She's going to attack again. Use the rim so she can finish. They're going to need some crafty finishes in order to avoid those shot blockers.
In her first 23 games, Rikia Jackson had 8 games where she hit the 20 mark. She's hit that mark in each of her last 8 games. You talk about momentum and coming in hot. That is absolutely Rikia Jackson. Speaking of coming in hot, when we come back, Virginia Tech has won 10 straight. We'll be joined by Taylor Soule. He's joining us from warm-ups. They tip off ACC title game action at the top of the hour. We'll preview. We'll also hit the film room with the imposing Aliyah Boston. CP talks to her about the tools that have made her a dominant force in college hoops. College Game Day rolls on after this.
The feeling of like being in the zone.
Bandwidth is on fire now.
Unconscious. It's the best feeling in the world.
It's indescribable, honestly. You just almost feel numb to your body.
You just feel like the basket just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Not really knowing why you're hitting these shots, but just knowing that you can. The zone is a great feeling.
Go ahead and shoot till your arm falls off. You're on fire.
If I feel like I can't miss, it's like an addiction, and I'm addicted to it.
Well, after 2 convincing wins for both teams in the semis, the ACC title game is set. 4-seeded Louisville will face a 3-seeded Virginia Tech team who's in the conference tournament title game for the first time and riding a 10-game win streak to boot. That game coming from Greensboro at the top of the hour. And we're so pleased to be joined by Virginia Tech forward Taylor Soule, who's joining us now as she's getting, I think, foam rolled. Is that the proper context? Do you say you're getting foam rolled right now?
Yeah, getting a nice little partner stretch by Demo.
Okay, by Demo. We love that. We love that, Taylor. We want you to get right. Now, you transferred from Boston College. How does it feel to already be in the program's first conference title game?
It feels great. I mean, it's why I came to Virginia Tech, to compete for a championship. And it's been great. I love my teammates. I love my coaches, the program, everything. So it's been fun, and I'm super excited.
Taylor, you just mentioned I love my teammates, and I want you to go into detail. How does it feel to play with players like Georgia Amore, who's hit 11 threes in the tournament, and Liz Kitley, the ACC Player of the Year? What's it like having those two beside you?
It's fun. They work extremely hard. They make my job easier. They give me confidence. And the way that they're playing, it's fun. I'm high-key a fangirl, but I'm just blessed to have teammates like them. Taylor Guyman, she's been my roommate on the road, so it's been great. Demo, KT, Maddie, everybody, so it's been really fun.
Taylor, when you met Louisville in the regular season, you led the team in scoring with 24 points. How were you able to have that success, and how do you duplicate it in the championship game today?
Yeah, I think that game I just had confidence, but I let the game come to me. Whether I had an open shot, making sure I'm taking it, but also being aggressive and still getting to the basket. So hopefully today I can do stuff like that. But even if not, I know my teammates are going to have my back and kind of pick up the slack.
Hey, Taylor, I got to meet you in Knoxville when you all played Tennessee. And after I talked to Elizabeth in Georgia, they talked about how good their defense is. And they said that's because you bring the dog. What is it about your presence that helps Virginia Tech's defense?
They'd say I have a lot of energy, and I agree. I love the defensive end because you can travel with your defense. All it takes is heart and hustle, and that's a lot of things I pride myself on. And so we got great defenders on this team that can guard 1 through 5. And so to be a part of that and to be able to help out, it's awesome. It's really fun.
I just mentioned, Taylor, this is uncharted territory for your program. First time you guys are making an appearance in the tournament title game. So under situations like that, right, with pressure and all those things, who's sort of providing the light moments in the locker room? Like, who's the one making sure you guys are having fun and keeping it light?
I think, honestly, it's all of us, whether it's on the bus on the way here, in the locker room. Demo, she makes jokes. Maddie, the freshman, she makes some jokes. But everyone honestly just feeds off of each other. We know how important this game is, and everyone's definitely locked in. But at the same time, you got to enjoy the moment. You worked really hard for this, so you got to smile a little bit and have some fun, too.
I love the humility because everyone on the desk is pointing at you when I ask that question. They're like, you're the one doing that. You're the one providing all of that levity. Some might say you are the heart and soul.
Sometimes.
The heart and soul of this team. Lay out for that horrible dad joke. It's bad. It's super bad. Good thing is your team is not. Good luck today in the ACC Championship. Taylor Soule joining us as she gets ready to take on Louisville. Folks, didn't know that jokes are always funny.
Can we give
a second time?
Can we give Elle credit for the smooth transition from the awful dad joke to the compliment of the team?
Yeah,
just
100%. Well, if you're me, you've got to find a way to. You got to get your way out of it. You know what was not laughable was the Cardinals' defense yesterday. They held Notre Dame to a second lowest in program history, 38 points. And I understand Aliyah Boston wasn't playing. But, CP, if you're Jeff Walls, the head coach for Louisville, you've got to be encouraged because it feels like that's been the one missing link from the Final Four team a year ago, the defense.
Well, that's what we saw from the Final Four teams of Louisville is how good they were defensively.
Mad Dog.
He had been trying to find out different ways, different combinations of what his team needed to do to get that spark. What did he do the end of January? He changed the starting lineup. He moved Mikasa Robinson not only on the court, but to run the team from the point position, not just offensively, but defensively. Robinson, she brings the dog for the Louisville Cardinals defensively, and then you have Chrislyn Carr coming in off the bench. That's where you can get your offense. She also has Haley Van Lith sharing the basketball. So since that change in the starting lineup, Louisville's only lost 2 games, and it was 2 points and 3 points, both to Notre Dame.
Well, Mikasa Robinson has been huge. She is such a gutty, gritty player. She's one of my favorites to watch. Reminds me of when I played the game. Just going to get it
like
done.
You?
Yeah.
She's just like
she brought that in. Here, let me brush that off for you right there.
You got to do the things that don't get noticed all the time, and she just completely sells out to that. But the biggest thing for me looking at this game with Louisville, in the last matchup against Virginia Tech, they only had 2 in double figures. Morgan Jones had 19, Haley Van Lith had 29. With all that defensive energy, they can create some early offense, specifically with Olivia Cochran. 4 points the last time these two teams met. She's been on fire in this ACC tournament. I want to see what their offense looks like for Louisville.
I love the humble brag from Dre, by the way. I would say my comp is Robin Roberts. I would say I'm most like her. Of course,
I'm leaving. It's time for me to go.
She's the most incredible player because she's just like me. Rebecca, I want to talk a little bit about momentum because we know that's so much of what rides on success in the NCAA tournament. Who do you think is the most dangerous team in the ACC right now?
Well, I think the answer depends on the health of Olivia Miles.
Sure.
I mean, this is a Notre Dame team with a healthy Olivia Miles who won the ACC regular season. This is a team without Olivia Miles. Yesterday scores 38 points and has 22 turnovers in that game. So to me, they're the most dangerous if she's healthy. If she's not, it's both of the teams that are playing in the championship game today.
You can't say enough about what Olivia Miles does for that team. It's not her scoring, it's also her facilitating, but it's also just the attitude that she plays with. She comes down the court looking like she's going to score the basketball, puts all of the defense on their heels. They're just ready to see what Olivia Miles is going to do, and that confidence spreads to everybody else. She is such a huge piece for them moving
Another
forward.
team you got to watch out for, though, in the ACC. Don't count out the Tar Heels now.
Okay.
Courtney Banghart has scored all 5 positions, and she kept them on a hot night. They could be a dangerous team to make a run in the NCAA tournament.
In the SEC tournament, I think most would agree that it is South Carolina's to lose, although the fans behind me wouldn't want to hear that. So ahead of that game and as they prepare, Holly Rowe caught up with Coach Don Staley.
Because we didn't talk to them at all.
We were going to do, you know, and the reason their defense leads really well is because they play Virginia. It's fine. But like, to keep up with Virginia, it's kind of get back to ACC that we 100%. 100%. And at least one block we got Virginia Tech love with yes.
This group is ready to erase that memory and make it a memory. You have such great depth and experience, but today you're able to get more detail depending on their situation. How has she shown that she's ready to step up in this moment? I mean, it's a build-up. I mean, Raven, we sometimes forget that she's just a person in life. This is her first time going through all of this. And we'll see. She'll probably be a little jittery, but as soon as she hears from Aliyah and Bray and V and Zaya, she'll snap out of it. Thank you, Coach.
Speaking of hearing from Aliyah, thank you for that segue, Coach. On the other side, we go inside the film room with Aliyah Boston and Carolyn Peck. We'll hear from the most successful recruiting class in Gamecock's history. That is on the other side as we get you set College Game Day. Coming to you from Greenville, site of the SEC Championship, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. But well before then, more us, so lock in. We love a good house divided, folks. Well, for the 38th year, Champ Week continues today with 4 women's basketball title games. First, the ACC Championship, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Then we've got the SEC Championship game. Big Ten title follows that, and on ESPN2, the Pac-12 Championship. What a day. So many teams crowned and tourney bound, especially a significant day for the seniors.
Dear Freshies, I could start us off by saying it felt just like yesterday that we stepped on this campus. Thank God for blessing me with teammates, sisters, who challenged me to find my purpose and where I belong. You have all helped me to realize that my purpose is greater than my presence. Coach Staley, man, I'm really going to miss being coached by you. You are literally the realest and coolest coach in the game. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your history. This journey has been truly amazing. Lev, Tish, Zaya, and Bree. You are my sisters for life, and I'm thankful to God for bringing us all together. We will always have a special group, and I continue to pray for everyone's success.
Oh, I think they're cutting onions in Greenville. And you can understand why so many emotions there for South Carolina after just unprecedented success. Success that saw them lose how many home games in the 4 years they played at Colonial? Yes, 1 home game. And you look at the core trio of Zaya Cook and Bree Beal and Aliyah Boston have started more games together than anyone else in D1 over the last 20 years. So ahead of their emotional swan song today, Carolyn Peck sat down with Aliyah Boston to talk about what makes her such an opposing force.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Peck, and I'm hanging out here with Aliyah Boston. And Aliyah, one of the things that is so impressive about you is your court awareness. So I've pulled a few plays from the Connecticut game. I want you to kind of walk me through what you're aware of on the floor and how you're able to take advantage. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this first play, Connecticut is in a zone, right?
Yeah.
Let me know when you recognize that you've got Bree Beal in the corner over here.
So once LA starts passing it in, I see Bree like right here. Because I'm like either looking to see if I can turn to the basket, but once I see Bree wide open, that means that Lopez Seneschal is right next to me, so I just kicked it out.
Here's another opportunity against the zone that you're able to take advantage of the short corner. When you cut through and get the ball down in the corner, What is allowing you to know that you can have that attack space to the middle of the floor?
Yeah, well, Aliyah Edwards is on Camilla right now, so she's occupied all the way. But as soon as Raven basket cuts and Aubrey turns her back right there, that's the split second that I have that I know that I need to go to work right there in that space.
Where have you learned to be so comfortable on the floor and kind of anticipate how you're going to take advantage on the court?
Definitely the coaches, but also just like watching a lot of film, you see where the openings come through after watching a team play over and over again. So that's how I'm able to do it.
Well, that's how you become National Player of the Year, with all those resources. This is Aliyah Boston of the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, I love it. You teed me up right there. You talk about National Player of the Year. It's time for a Wendy's Wooden Watch. Will Aliyah Boston run it back, or will it be Caitlin Clark? I think that we can all sort of assume that this is a two-woman race at this point, right? Between Aliyah Boston or Caitlin Clark, should be the first Big Ten player to win that award. More, go to ESPN.com and search Wooden. All right, so South Carolina is still the odds-on favorite to win this entire thing, right? And you can see why. Not just the fan support, but they've had 5 games out of 31 games decided by single digits. In the interest of debate, however, and for this program, give me a team that can give them the best run for their money in the tournament.
I think that Indiana can be a team that gives them a run. Terry Morin has said this is her best defensive team that she has had since she has been at Indiana. And I think a lot of that has to do with the presence of Grace Berger at the point and Mackenzie Holmes inside. That's a good 1-2 punch. And then they have shooters on the perimeter. When they have Yarden Garzone and they also have Sarah Scalia, if they're making shots and then they're playing defense inside and out in the X factor, that's Sydney Paris. Sydney Paris is one that brings the attitude. She has the experience from the success that she had out in Oregon, and she has really brought that to Bloomington, Indiana.
And a team that really intrigues me is the UConn Huskies. Why? Because we don't know exactly what they are quite yet. Very similar to last year. Paige Beckers joins the team with 2 games left in the regular season. Before she returned, they did not look like a Final Four caliber team. Once she did, they became a Final Four national championship contender. This year, it's a very similar situation with AZ Fudge. She rejoined the team yesterday. UConn won by double digits for the first time in over a month. They did not have a double-digit victory in the month of February. AZ Fudd completely changes this team. Gino Auriemma after the game said, it just feels right when she's on the floor. He said, nobody in America is adding a player like AZ Fudd. All of her teammates now can take a deep breath because they don't feel like every shot they take is life or death. It's going to be really interesting over the course of the next 2 days to see what UConn looks like heading into March Madness.
It's so remarkable. AZ Fudd comes back after missing all this time, and teams are defending her like she hasn't missed any time at all. They know exactly the type of shooter that she is and her skill set. Another team that I think can contend with South Carolina. And this is all, in my opinion, if South Carolina doesn't bring their A game. Like South Carolina on their best day, in my opinion, can't be beat by anybody when they're playing their best. But if South Carolina starts to slip, or maybe they're not having their best day, I think Iowa can contend with South Carolina. And why is that? Iowa is a team that hits 9 threes per game. You have to be able to knock down threes to compete with South Carolina because of the way they rebound the basketball. Iowa's shooting 50% from the field. Caitlin Clark is a 30-point triple-double walking at any single night. They have a ton of weapons. And we showed that breakdown about the block shots and crafty finishes from Rickea Jackson. South Carolina had 14 blocks against Ole Miss.
Wait, say that again?
South Carolina had 14 blocks.
In one game?
Against Ole Miss. In one game. It's an outrageous number.
Absurd.
What do you need? Craftiness. Caitlin Clark is a crafty player that can score around some of that length.
You also have to have a post player that can score inside. And so if I was going to have a chance, Monica Sonano has got to have a big game and be able to finish if those 2 teams meet.
Just to get you excited, Rebecca Lobo, Charlie Cream right now has UConn on the 3 line in the same region as Iowa and South Carolina. So you're talking about a region with those 3 heavy hitters.
As long as I'm the one calling those games.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm all good.
What's amazing is a healthy Connecticut, in my opinion, I had them at a number 1. Like, I still had a healthy Connecticut with all of their pieces. They're a number 1 seed. They've just had so many injuries.
But you know who's not going to have them there is the committee.
Yeah.
So it's going to be another one of those situations where you might get a healthy Connecticut playing like a number 1, but they're not a number 1, and then the number 1 in their region is not happy.
Well, how does Connecticut move from the 3 line all the way up to 1? I know there were a lot of losses that happened and all, but that's a big jump to go from 3 to 1.
They won't be.
Yeah, they won't
Even
be.
if they're playing like 1, they won't be.
Well, you mentioned Caitlin Clark, so we'd be remiss to not talk about the Big Ten championship as Caitlin Clark and Iowa will face Ohio State. You do have some conferences that are pretty top-heavy. I would say that the SEC is one of them, right? But not the Big Ten. They've got 4 or 5 really formidable opponents. On the macro level, how do you think that the Big Ten will fare in the tournament?
Well, I think one team that is really going to have a chance now to evolve is Ohio State. When they started the season, they had J.C. Sheldon, they had Madison Green. They brought that full court pressure. Remember, they forced Tennessee into 29 turnovers. Now that J.C. Sheldon is back, they still don't have Green, but they've got the brains on the court to bring that full court pressure.
Well, you talk about Ohio State's defense, Carolyn. They are 20-1 when they get 8 or more steals. If they get 7 or less, they're 5-5. That defense for Ohio State, they average 11 steals per game. That fiery defense complements some of their three-point shooting and scoring that they have.
Who is the most dangerous Big Ten team in the NCAA tournament? I don't know, but I know that the Big Ten has been the most exciting conference to watch this season because of the pace with which they play, because of the high field goal percentage. Iowa, Indiana, number 1 and number 2 in the country in field goal percentage. The way they score the basketball, the level their guards play at. It has been an absolute delight watching Big Ten basketball this year.
Diamond Miller and Abby Myers at Maryland have been so much fun. 2 dynamic scores.
And the bench that Maryland's got. You got Brene Alexander and Lavender Briggs have come in big for the Terps.
I don't think there's anything that illustrates how close this conference is more than the fact that 9 of the games at this conference tournament have been decided by single digits. They're all right there within each other. When we come back, we're going to show a little bit of love to the West Coast. The Pac-12 rife with upsets in their conference tournament. We'll assess the outlook and some others. Is it a mere stumble or a sign of things to come? College Game Day continues on the other side. Well, as you know, March is here, and the ESPN Tournament Challenge is back. Scan the QR code to download the app, play the #1 bracket game, create a group, invite your friends, and get ready for the madness to begin. Before that, though, there's the little matter of shoring up some of these tournaments, and we're getting ready for the ACC Tournament just about 15 minutes from now. To set the table, we check in with our friends at the ACC Network.
Oh, it's the start of a big day on Championship Sunday from the Greensboro Coliseum, about to crown an ACC champion. Louisville trying for the second time in the last 6 years to wear the crown, and for Virginia Tech on the verge of making history in their first ACC championship game, trying to take home a conference title for the first time since 1998 when they were in the A-10. Beth Mowins, Muffet McGraw, and Debbie Antonelli. Of course, all the focus for Virginia Tech around their Player of the Year, Elizabeth Kitley, but it was Georgia Amore yesterday that played off of her spectacularly.
She's a rising star, and I love what Kenny Brooks does. He's stuck with what was working. She's getting some great shots, and here you're going to see one of my favorite sets. Amore playing the point. She's going to pass it to the wing. It's going to be a screen-to-screener. They're going to screen down, ball screen, but watch the hedge on the defender. Duke's defender is stepping all the way out. Amore was going to sit a back screen, but there's nobody there, so she reads the situation, gets to the three-point line. You got mismatch on the block, or I'll take the 3. I think the 3 was what was working. They're going to just continue to run it as long as it's going, and you'll see Amore just hit. It looks like the same play. It is the same play. They ran it 3 times in a row, and it was working.
That got Virginia Tech into the final. Debbie, it was a total team effort, too, for Louisville. And Mikasa Robinson may actually be the MOP at this point.
I would say so. I mean, Haley Van Lith gets all the headlines, but Mikasa Robinson is that right side of the box score kind of player. Right now in the tournament, 7 points, 7.5 assists, 8 rebounds, 2.5 steals. She is stuffing the stat sheet and playing her role at the highest level in the most important time. She can go off the bounce. She's got a good mid-range. She's actually seeking her shot, and when you go under that ball screen, she's going to make you pay now.
It's all about the NCAA tournament seeding as well at stake. Muffet, you know who handles this moment better is going to win this thing.
Absolutely. Louisville's got the experience there, both in the coaching staff and in the players.
Yeah, I think Louisville has a chance right here to win another title in Greensboro, but Virginia Tech's in a place they've never been. This is going to be an exciting one. It's not just offense, defense. Star power is in this one as well.
2 hottest teams in the ACC, gang. Only one gets to celebrate this afternoon.
We'll see that game 14 minutes from now over on ESPN, but the end of the year means accolades abound. Let's start with our Conference Players of the Year. Elizabeth Kitley won the award for the 2nd straight season. She has the Hokies 40 minutes away from their first ever ACC tournament title. To the SEC, Aliyah Boston took home yet another award. Boston's broken a handful of records yet again this season and has the Gamecocks at 31-0 on the season. In the Big East, Villanova's Maddie Siegrist has now won Player of the Year
in back-to-back seasons. The 7th Big East player to do that. Siegrist is leading the nation with just a cool NBD 28.9 points per game. Speaking of scoring, hey Caitlin Clark, we saw this one coming. She was named Big Ten Player of the Year also for the 2nd straight year. She's scoring more than 26 points a game and leads the nation in assists. And out west, Utah's Alyssa Peely won Pac-12 Player of the Year, the first Utah player to win that award. She's the only player in the conference that's averaging 20 a game. All right, let's talk about the bracket buzz prepared by Taxas. And you won't see Pilly today as her Utes were one of many upsets in the conference tournament. They were a 1 seed. Charlie Cream has them sliding to a 2 seed after getting upset by Wazoo. They upset Stanford last week in the regular season. Stanford loses a game, this time to UCLA in the quarters. Fellow 1 seed Indiana falls to Ohio State yesterday. And newly minted 1 seed, per Charlie Cream, Maryland, also falling to Iowa. So we're going to play a little game called Stumble or Sign of Things to Come. And I'll start right there in the Pac-12. Rebecca Lobo, as again we welcome you on set from Greenville as we get ready for the SEC Championship. I just mentioned it, right? Stanford uses Toulouse, and then they lose to a rebuilding UCLA squad. Is this a stumble or a sign?
Well, I'll take it that it's a sign that they can stumble in a myriad of ways. When you look at their UCLA loss, it was the defense that got them. UCLA scored 29 points in the 4th quarter. Prior to that, in their game against Tom, it was turnovers. They turned the ball over 21 times in that game. Prior to that, their loss against Washington, it was the rebounding. So this is a Stanford team that they have experience of being in the last 2 Final Fours. They have Tara Vanderveer at the helm. All of those things I just mentioned are fixable. I would expect Stanford to get their momentum back when they play those first two games of the tournament at home.
Let's talk about another 1 seed. I just mentioned them, Indiana. They fall to Ohio State after blowing a 20-point lead. That was the largest blown lead in Big Ten history. They, of course, lost to Iowa on the regular season finale as well. Stumble or sign?
This is a sign that they need to get over that stumble because Indiana started the season turning the ball over. That was a concern for Terry Moore. And then they had a period of time that they played without Grace Berger. Now Grace Berger is back. But now the turnovers have creeped back in. Not only did they have 18 turnovers against Ohio State, they had 15 against Michigan State as well. So it's got to be a matter of taking care of the ball. I was sitting here thinking, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? If it's the turnover, then you don't have a chance to really get your defense set. That's what you've got to do with Ohio State. You have to take care of the ball and score it so that they can't get the defense set. If you allow teams to turn you over, then there's no opportunity for you. You're always playing catch up.
You talk about blown leads, LSU. Many people thought it would be LSU here right now. They were up 17 on the Lady Vols and they end up losing. Is that a stumble or a sign?
I think it could be a sign, and the reason why, you just asked Rebecca and Caroline about 2 teams that are veteran-led teams and that are teams that have played together for a really long time. Not only has Stanford and Indiana played together for multiple seasons, but they also played together through a very tough non-conference schedule. And I'm using Kim Mulkey's words herself. She sat on the set with me and Alyssa Lang and said, we have to figure out a way to stretch leads. We let teams back in games way too often. That's something that she said her team needs to work on. Versus Texas A&M, they had a 17-point lead. A&M cut it to 4. A&M didn't have the closers. You come against Tennessee, 17-point lead. Tennessee had the closers. This team hasn't been together very long. Will they be able to turn that page and stretch leads in the tournament? We'll see.
LSU is the number 5 team in the country. They have as many wins against ranked opponents as the Lady Vols do, who are unranked at this particular moment. We are about to close things out at College Game Day, but before we do, I put my friends in the pressure cooker. We've got predictions, but we're going to make it spicy. Yeah, exactly. They're so scared. They have no idea what's coming, but you'll find out on the other side.
Bunch of tough girls, I'll tell you that. We are determined, we're intense, we want it.
If you're not willing to do whatever it takes to win a national championship, you don't belong in the room.
Boston gets it to go!
The most dominant center in the country right now.
Caitlin Clark sizzling. Are you kidding me? From New York.
Angel Reese doing Angel Reese things.
Siegrist for the record. She's got it.
title games across ESPN networks for you today, including the reason that we're here, the SEC Championship, all the way 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Beforehand, we check in with Holly Rowe, who sets the table for Tennessee versus South Carolina.
Well, when you see this game today, you're going to see a fun matchup. Zaya of Tennessee have been playing against each other since they were in 6th grade, and they'll do it again today. See, they grew up in Ohio. They were never each other, but they are dear friends. Jordan told me Zaya calls me, texts me, picks me up. She's like a sister to me, just not when we're on the court. So that will be a fun matchup to watch those two longtime friends and foes face off today again for a championship on the line. One other thing to consider for South Carolina, Kiara Fletcher, their starting guard, she twisted her ankle yesterday in a game. Her status is TBD right now. She was a big factor when South Carolina beat Tennessee last week, 15 points. Whether or not she plays, that is going to be something to keep your eye on for South Carolina. Her backup is a true freshman. This will be a big stage for Raven Johnson.
All right, thank you so much, Holly. We'll keep an eye on you as well as we get ready for that broadcast at 3 p.m. Eastern. For now, we're going to do some predictions. We're going to do them rapid fire style. My friends here have no idea what I'm about to ask them, which is either giving me this look like, what are we doing? So we'll start right here in the SEC. Based on her last game where she had 17 assists and 16 blocks, will Aliyah Boston have more assists or blocks today?
Aliyah Boston's going to have more blocks. Aliyah Boston's going to have more assists.
This is called rapid fire.
Rapid fire, Dre.
Come on, let's go. This. I like to analyze.
All right,
assists.
CP, most outstanding player in the ACC title game will be?
Mikasa Robinson.
The Pac-12 championship will be decided by?
Rebounding.
Caitlin Clark scores blank today against Ohio State.
40.
Ooh, okay. 32 points per game, by the way, versus Ohio State in her career, so that's not crazy off.
Ready for a championship?
Yeah, all right. Big Ten will have blank teams in the Final Four.
2.
2 teams in the Final Four. Who are they?
Oh, look at you.
Okay. That's right. It's rapid fire. All right, Rebecca, if South Carolina is Goliath, who is David?
Everybody else.
All right.
That's good.
Over under Haley Van Lith, 4.5 chest bumps today.
Over. Under. That means she does more than that? Yeah, under.
Best dressed SEC coach, Mulkey or Staley?
Staley.
Ah, okay.
Louis Drip.
Yeah.
What do they think? All right. And I'll present this last rapid fire to the group. The longest lashes in NCAA history.
Oh, that's Tamari Key.
We went with Greenville.
Greenville is in there too.
Listen, as someone that wears fake eyelashes every day and does it mildly annoyed the entire time, shouts out to them. All right, guys, before we get out of here, final thoughts as we get ready for ACC and SEC action today. Final thoughts.
I'm just sitting here thinking about all the stars we have in all of these leagues and across the nation. We saw some of the Wood and Watch. We saw some highlights of these players. There are talented players in our game. I'm just excited.
We're going to have, in the SEC, it's going to be all about the bigs. You're going to have a lot of size, a lot of talented post players. In the ACC, it's a guards game, and that's going to be who determines these two matchups.
And many of these championship games are a reflection of what we've seen all season long. The Pac-12 is a perfect example. The lower seeds beating the higher seeds. What we've come to expect as upsets are happening finally this year in women's college basketball.
Hey, I got to ask the crowd, who do you think's going to win today in the SEC championship?